turning the other cheek under a different king. There are few moments more disorienting than being humiliated, not harmed but diminished, not attacked but reduced, not argued with but struck in a way that tells us exactly where we stand. We know the feeling. Someone crosses a line and something in us flares, not just to protect our body, but to protect our dignity. Retaliation feels like strength in those moments. Silence feels like surrender, and restraint feels like losing ourselves altogether. So when Jesus says, "But I say to you, do not resist the one who is evil, but if anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to him the other also," we don't hear a gentle invitation. We hear a demand that sounds costly, unsafe, and deeply unrealistic, because it feels like Jesus is asking us to absorb humiliation, to accept being treated as less than, to let injustice stand unanswered. And the questions come quickly. Does this mean letting people walk over us? Does this mean silence in the face of real wrongdoing? Does this mean weakness dressed up as faith? If we are honest, most of us don't doubt Jesus because we misunderstand him. We doubt because we understand him all too well, and we are not sure we can live the way he asks. That hesitation matters. It needs to be named. You are allowed to feel afraid when you hear this command. You are allowed to doubt your capacity to live this way. This sounds hard because it is hard, not because you lack faith, but because Jesus is calling us beyond instinct, beyond self-protection, and beyond the ways power usually works in the world. And Jesus knows that. He does not give this command from a safe distance. He knows exactly where this path leads. The scriptures had already spoken of a servant who would be struck and humiliated without retaliation. "I gave my back to those who strike, and my cheeks to those who pull out the beard. I hid not my face from disgrace and spitting." Isaiah chapter 50, verse 6. Jesus knew those words. He knew what they pointed toward. When he was arrested, falsely accused, and dragged before authorities, he did not defend himself. When he stood before Pilate and Herod, mocked and ridiculed, he did not answer their threats. And when the moment came where violence could have ended it all, Jesus made something unmistakably clear. "Do you think that I cannot appeal to my Father, and he will at once send me more than 12 legions of angels?" Matthew chapter 26, verse 53. Power was present, authority was real, retaliation was possible, and still the command never came. Jesus did not turn the other cheek because he was powerless. He did so because he entrusted himself to the Father. He knew that justice did not depend on his immediate response, but on the faithfulness of God. That truth matters, not to burden us, but to steady us. Jesus knows exactly what he is asking of us because he has stood there himself. But Jesus is not the only place Scripture shows us this way of living under pressure. Stephen was not an apostle. He was not a leader seeking influence. He was an ordinary believer, filled with faith, speaking truth in a hostile space. He is falsely accused. His words are twisted. He is dragged before the council and publicly humiliated. And as the crowd turns violent, Stephen does not strike back. He does not curse his attackers. He does not call down judgment. Instead, as stones are raised, he prays, "Lord, do not hold this sin against them." Acts chapter 7, verse 60. Stephen dies without seeing justice restored. He does not live to see vindication. He does not see his enemies transformed. And yet, God is not absent. A young man named Saul stands nearby, watching, listening, approving. And later, not immediately, not predictably, but genuinely, God reaches that same man and remakes him into Paul. Stephen never sees the outcome, but his faithfulness is not wasted. This matters. Turning the other cheek does not guarantee safety. It does not ensure that things will turn out well in the moment. It does not promise that restraint will be rewarded quickly or visibly. What it promises is something deeper. From the very beginning, followers of Jesus were known for this way of life, not because they were fearless, not because they were passive, and not because injustice did not matter to them. They refused retaliation because they trusted a different king with justice. They absorbed insult without striking back. They endured humiliation without answering violence with violence. And over time, the gospel formed them into a people whose strength did not depend on domination or control. This was not heroic resolve. It was slow formation. Turning the other cheek is not weakness. It is strength that refuses to be ruled by instinct. It is dignity anchored somewhere deeper than public approval or immediate vindication. That does not make it easy. The fear remains, the cost remains, the uncertainty remains. But something else begins to grow. As we stay under the reign of Jesus, as we learn to trust him with justice instead of seizing it for ourselves, we are slowly changed. We become less reactive, less governed by pride, less driven by the need to prove our worth. We are not asked to master this. We are not asked to feel ready. We are not asked to silence the fear. We are asked to stay, to remain under the reign of a king who sees every blow, every insult, every injustice, and who is faithful to judge rightly, even when we cannot see how or when. Over time, the kingdom does what we cannot. It forms in us a strength that is not overcome by humiliation, a dignity that does not collapse under pressure, and a faith that trusts Jesus more than our instincts. As you sit with this teaching today, take a moment to reflect on where this feels most frightening. Where does your dignity feel most at risk? Where do you doubt your capacity to live this way? And where might Jesus be inviting you, not to prove yourself, but to trust him and remain under his reign? If you're willing, share your reflections or questions in the comments so we can learn and walk this journey together.